to do the very best we can for the patient in front of us.
What sparked your initial interest in the field of medicine?
Just like you're digital natives, you're also global natives, and the individual story of the individual patient.
What do you see as the biggest challenges and opportunities facing neurosurgery in the next decade?
From a very young age, I think in elementary school, I knew that I wanted to do something with my life that would help people.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have an amazing guest, G4 Alliance Chairman, Dr. Gail Rosseau. Welcome to my podcast, ma'am.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, what sparked your initial interest in the field of medicine?
Well, from a very young age, I think in elementary school, I knew that I wanted to do something with my life that would help people. So I wanted to be a doctor from very, very early on. My initial interest in neurosurgery really came from seeing my first neurosurgical operation. As a student, I had the opportunity to go to the operating room and see a craniotomy, and I was just absolutely mesmerized, really entranced, and I thought, that's what I want to do with my life.
Okay, wonderful, ma'am. Ma'am, you have led impactful projects, including your work with traumatic brain injury register in Zambia. Could you share how these initiatives have contributed to global neurosurgery?
So there are so many places in the world where the access to surgery is not what we have at home. And I think that as doctors, not just surgery, but all physicians have since ancient days have shared this same philosophy, and we take the same oath, and that is to do the very best we can for the patient in front of us. But now, in the last 30 years or so, with increased globalization, I think we now realize that if we think that it's important to take very good care, the best possible care of the patient in front of us, we also know that there's a second core responsibility that we have as professionals, and that is to be supportive of all those efforts to bring that care to everyone, not only those that we are personally taking care of, but to share knowledge with our colleagues around the world so that their patients can benefit.
Absolutely perfect, ma'am. Ma'am, with over 300 peer-reviewed publications and visit to university as a speaker, how do you stay passionate and motivated in your field?
Oh, it's by talking to people like you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
With all seriousness, it's the combination of being increasingly aware of the great need around the world. 5 billion out of 8 billion people on the planet don't have access to even emergency and essential surgery.
More than 50%.
Oh, about 2/3. So as we become increasingly aware of the inequity and lack of access to surgery in the world, that certainly drives our initiative to want to do more, not only for our patients, but for the rest of the patients in the world. And the opportunities that I see are with those challenges are that I think they'll be met by the amazing young people like yourself and the people of your generation. It is just absolutely wonderful to see that just like you're digital natives, here you are with your own broadcasts, just like you're digital natives, you're also global natives. And
Exactly.
you all think about your lives in terms of being involved not only in your community and your nation, but in the world. And so, although there are great challenges, there are also great opportunities because of the breadth and depth of attention to the world that your generation has.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Such a beautiful words you use for us. Congratulations, ma'am, on receiving CNS Trailblazer Award and Humanitarian Award. What do these honors mean to you personally?
Well, what they mean is that at that one particular time, I was getting the award that represents a lot of work by a lot of people. Nobody does this work alone. And so one of the most wonderful blessings of my entire life has been finding a community of neurosurgeons and more broadly of people who are interested in global surgery of all kinds who are working together. And it's that combination of the clinical aspects of neurosurgery, which I love, the individual story of the individual patient, the knowledge, expertise, technique, technology needed to address that patient's problem. And then when you put that in the context of how you apply that story in that situation to try to solve the problems of tens of thousands, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people.
Lovely answer, ma'am. Amazing. Ma'am, given your extensive experience, what advice would you give to aspiring neurosurgeon?
Oh, well, first of all, I just love meeting aspiring neurosurgeons like yourself. The first thing is to pay attention to becoming the best possible clinician you can. It may appear um, very glamorous that surgeons travel a lot around the world, but the nuts and bolts of it are taking care of the patient in your own community. So I would say, first, pay close attention to becoming the best possible doctor you can be in whatever specialty you choose. If possible, have something that you do that is global in nature along the line. So you'll find that there's ebbs and flows in a career. Early on, when you're a medical student, possibly when you're a resident, you may have protected time to do things that are outside of your community, what we might call global surgery. Then there'll be a period of time where that's very difficult because the full responsibility of patient care, of perhaps care of a department, service or department depends on you. You may have a little less opportunity to look up from the daily tasks at hand to the more global view, but keep something running in the background. And then as you mature to what we call a seasoned surgeon, maybe you're no longer having to take night call anymore. Maybe you are in a position where you have a little bit more control of your own schedule. Then you can re-engage. And so these people at the beginning and at the ends of their careers have the most time available. But if everybody has a global perspective, then together we'll be able to make a difference.
Exactly. Love it, ma'am. Ma'am, what do you see as the biggest challenges and opportunities facing neurosurgery in the next decade?
The challenges are economics and equity. Uh, Equity first. I truly believe that we all have a right to health care. It's a basic human need, and
Exactly.
it's the job of every government to try to assure and organize that care. That will take more investment. If you look at some countries are spending 1 or 2% of their GDP on healthcare. Surely that's not enough because the most important natural resource that any nation has is its people, right? It's
Exactly.
the human resource. So
Exactly.
1 to 2% of GDP is not enough to be spending on taking care of your most precious natural resource. Likewise, spending 16, 18, 20% is probably too much. Then there's waste. Then there are operations being done for financial reasons that shouldn't be done. So I don't think any country's gotten it exactly right for where the sweet spot is, but we need to continue to try to find that sweet spot so that we have an equity proposition in every country where there is access to quality, safe, affordable care for everyone in every country.
You explain it and you explain it really well. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a pleasure talking
It's
to you.
my
It was great.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.